I think there's something to be said for giving designers that are from Africa, that live in Africa and wish to operate across Africa, the opportunity to make commercial successes of their crafts and skills. It's one thing to be talented at something you do, but then the struggle to make it commercially viable is also another issue that should also be addressed. Is there any Afreximbank is doing that could give us an indication of the potential value of the design sector to Africa's various economies?
Thank you very much, and good morning to everybody. I'm basically very happy to be here because this is the cause that Africa Export and Import Bank has basically been supporting. For some of you who may not know about our bank, it's basically a Pan-African international institution that provides trade finance. The bank has basically recently introduced what we call the Strategic Plan Impact 2021. This is very important because it focuses on a number of things that are dear to the people on the grassroots. Even though we are a commercial institution, we are now to go into the areas of facilitating intra-African trade.
The other challenge, I think I would put it at policymakers. It has to do with the taxes you have to pay on imported finished product or finished textiles. Why do I see this as a problem? If you import today, as we speak today in Ghana, if you bring in finished textile product, you pay taxes to the tune of almost 68%. 68% in taxes. Now, you ask yourself, which private importer, businessman, in his or her right senses, would want to bring these things in and pay so much as by way of taxes? So I think the tax regime does not encourage importers of textile product to do the right thing. And so many people actually import these things in and go back, the back door, smuggle them in, pay some bribes, and then just bring those products in. And so when they land on the market, obviously they're able to sell at much, much lower prices than we do. So that's the biggest challenge. It just doesn't encourage the business that we do.
I love speaking with entrepreneurs. What I always say to people is, if you don't ask, you won't get. And so even if you don't feel you have the resources to pay for the service, that nobody is in the business of providing free service, and but you should ask. You should ask, because it's possible they may have a pro bono program, or they may barter services with you. So ask. Don't be afraid to ask.
The second conversation is called Design Education in Africa. On our panel, I'm very delighted and honoured to have sitting with me, starting from the end, Dr. Ekow Asmah, a lecturer at Kwame, Nkrumah, University of Science and Technology, Ghana. Thank you for being with us this morning. Sitting next to him is Constance Swaniker, founder of the Design and Technology Institute. Thank you so much for being with us, Constance. And sitting next to Constance is Dela Kumahor, a partner at the Cobalt Partners and designer. Thank you so much, Dela, for being here with us. So, education is perhaps this panel comes with more of a Ghanaian bias. We can't maybe say that the education system is universal for all of Africa. So bearing that in mind, Dr. Asmah, do you feel that Ghana's design education structure is giving students or nurturing students with the necessary skills, design students with the necessary skills and expertise that is required for them to develop their crafts and to create sustainable careers from their craft?
I must say that at the moment we are doing our best, but our best is not enough. There's more room for improvement. Why am I saying this? design is more practical. And if what we are doing is 70% theory and 30% practical, then we are not making any headway. Everybody knows that we retain about 80% or more when we do things than when we read. Okay? And so it is better we focus on the practicals than the theory.
This reminds me of something that one of the gentlemen that I used to teach with said to me. So I used to teach the design course with two other people, two architects actually. And one of them once said to me that, look, it doesn't really matter if any of the people that we are teaching now go on to become designers or architects or whatever. What he was interested in is 20 years from now for someone to come to him and say, you know what, I remember your design course from 20 years ago, and it made me appreciate design a lot more. It made me see things differently. It made me think about things differently. And if it would be okay with you, I would really like it if you would come and design my next office or my next home. And so that's when it clicked for me that it's not just our duty to design the next sort of generation of design professionals, but we also have to educate the next generation of design appreciators and design patrons, right? We also have to develop that taste, because as you said, in many African contexts, that sort of culture of design appreciation, art appreciation isn't there. So we have to find ways of creating it. We can't just sort of, throw up our hands and say, oh well, it's not there, so I'm just going to sell it abroad. So if any of my students 10, 15 years from now, or longer, 20, 25 years from now, have their sons and daughters coming to them and saying, I want to go to fashion school, like Samuel was saying earlier, it won't take him a year to convince them that he should go to fashion school.
I think government has to put policies in place that would pay attention to local designers, and when it comes to not just infrastructural development but development as a whole, there is the tendency for our policymakers to look towards the West because they feel that design or talent coming from overseas is more sophisticated than the local landscape. And I think it's so wrong that we haven't even begun to explore, to look at the local talent. So platforms like this definitely profiles what is happening on the continent, and I think should be encouraged.